Hey love, if you are new, welcome. If you've been rocking with me for a while, welcome back. I'm Soul Love Sarí, and this is another Soul to Soul chat, straight talk, no chaser. This is where we unpack the everyday challenges of emotional wealth and energetic sovereignty, living as a spiritually aware, empath, and highly sensitive woman. As always, the intention is to guide you through emotional overwhelm and energetic depletion so that you can understand yourself deep enough to actually change your life. Be forewarned, side effects include reclaiming your power, finding your voice, protecting your energy, and making your peace fucking non-negotiable. If today's chat and journey resonates with you, then your next step is going to be the Promise Journal, your go-to resource for self-healing and having to process your emotions on your own with no support. If you're looking for more of a one-on-one type situation or a different way to work with me, then check out your options available for you in the description box below. All right, let's dive in. All right, so diving into part 2 of this. How do we manifest using negative energy, negative thoughts, negative emotions, negative energy? First things first, you need to understand what your specific negative emotions are influencing for you. You also want to look at what specific idea, aka perspective, they are rooted in. Emotions are a lot of things, okay? But they serve one main purpose and focus when it comes to manifestation, and that's to guide you closer towards the things that you want, need, and desire. Now, you hear me talking about this a lot, especially if you've been following me for a while. Your emotions literally tell you what it is that you need to feel safe, sane, and secure. It doesn't matter who's around, what's happening, what you doing, what you ain't doing, what's going on, what ain't going on, okay? Like, that's what they there for in every sense or every element. In every area of your life. They're there to help you understand and navigate what is safe, sane, and secure for you. I'm gonna get it out. The important thing to focus on here is that your emotions, good, bad, happy, sad, indifferent, they provide you with clarity. This is important because manifestation requires clarity. Remember, in the manifestation map in part 1, so if you missed that, then go back and check that out, okay? In the manifestation map, the metaphysical energy needs an idea. It needs clarity to take form so that it can become tangible in the physical world. If that's not clicking, think about it this way. The energy needs clarity on what you want it to transform into. Remember, energy does not die. It simply changes form. What form is it that you want it to take? Again, manifestation requires clarity, specifically emotional clarity, which is oftentimes what happens when you get pissed off, when you get into a negative emotional state. Anger, frustration, all the things, like, that's when you have the most clarity and where it's a lot easier to access the clarity for a lot of us who are wired to manifest more easily with negative energy. It's not because something about you is inherently bad or negative. It's because that's the circuitry. Don't judge me, judge your mama. That's the energetic circuitry or wiring that your nervous system has developed in order to access clarity on what it wants and what it needs. Now, to be clear, this is not about glorifying being in a negative emotional state. This is about understanding the energetic power source or source of power that is available to you in the identity that you are currently already in, okay? This is to help you find the path of least resistance and meet you where you are right now until you can figure out how to better navigate, okay? So again, this is about your nervous system, how your nervous system learned to acquire and figure out what it needs to feel and be safe. So if you struggle to be positive and think positive all the time, or however much you feel like you need to think that way or be in that particular state in order to manifest, why not shift your focus and attention to the easier path that's currently available to you? It doesn't mean that you don't have access to manifest from a state of positivity or positive emotion, etc., or what you perceive as positive emotion. It just simply means that right now it's easier, the easiest path, the one without or with the least amount of resistance, okay, that's available to you, is to use your negative emotion instead. So to use the empowered aspects of the negative emotion and energy that you're currently feeling. Stick with me, it's gonna make sense. as we go. Give me a second. So with that in mind, where on the spectrum does your emotional clarity come on board the easiest and fastest for you? Neither is right or wrong. The question or the focus here is where exactly, or is identifying where exactly your power is currently being amplified so that you can find or take the easiest path. What helped me put this into perspective, because I know it's a different way of thinking, and I get that. So it can take a minute to wrap your head around it. But what helped put this shit into perspective for me was watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, and specifically the scene where Aang goes in to unlock his 7 chakras to be able to unlock or use the avatar state at will. Like, oh, it's so juicy. It's so juicy. Let's unpack it. Okay, so at first he couldn't access the avatar state unless he was pissed off or angry. And this usually happened when somebody fucked with his girl, Katara, or one of his friends. Then when he learned how to surrender to his identity as the avatar, so the truth of his state of being as the avatar, and release attachments to who he thought he needed to be or show up as, that's when he was able to turn on the avatar state at will, no problem. Again, this is all about identity. Who the fuck are you? And what perspective does that identity have about the thing that you desire, that you want, that you are trying to manifest? What perspective does it have about having the desire? If it's negative, if the perspective is negative, I'm gonna get it out, I'm just excited. If the perspective is negative for you, you are going to use that substance, aka the negative emotion, to your advantage. The substance itself, aka the negative emotion, is your stability. Okay, that is going to be your stability in the form of detachment from all other emotional ties. Like, you're going to be laser focused on that one specific, or if it's a couple for you, on those specific negative emotions. Usually if it's easier for you to manifest from the negative perspective instead of the positive perspective, it's usually because you struggle with a sense, or struggle to have a sense of safety in the traditional sense. Instead, your sense of safety comes in the form of familiarity and familiar patterns, where the muscle memory, speaking for your nervous system. So on a nervous system basis, the muscle memory is pain. Okay, but what does all of this look like lived experience wise? So for this, we can look at the 7 chakras, okay? Again, that specific scene in Avatar and Last Airbender, baby, it's so juicy. It's so juicy. And this is not the first time that I've watched that scene, but again, with manifestation, you can literally find inspiration anywhere, but specifically with manifestation and the current struggles that I have been working through, like, it's been an eye-opener. I progress. Let's unpack it. So this muscle memory of pain, right? It can manifest 7 different ways if we're using these 7 chakras as inspiration from Avatar: Last Airbender. Stick with me, okay? The very first one is the root chakra, okay? So that familiarity and familiar pattern is going to express or manifest itself as fear. And whenever your negative perspective is fear, you have to face and surrender to your fears in order to be able to manifest, in order to flow with that particular power source of energy. Now, before we go any further, okay, I'm gonna give you what I can in this free version of information, okay? And if I do say so myself, I've been pretty generous. All of that to say, if you want the specifics of what this looks like for you, then I highly suggest that you book the energy audit, okay? The option is listed for you in the description box below, and it'll probably be in the comment section as a pinned comment as well by the time that this is actually posted. So we're gonna walk through each of these, but if you want to know what this looks like specifically for you and how this is manifesting and all the things for you, you need to book an energy audit, baby. It's only so much we can do for the free 99. Now, in the sacral chakra, if the negative perspective and or negative emotion is guilt, you're going to want to look at where you are blaming yourself and forgive yourself. Move into the solar plexus chakra. If the negative perspective and or emotion is shame, you are going to have to stop denying parts of yourself and accept who you had to become in order to survive. I do want to make a special note and or highlight something here. Understand that with this particular negative perspective and negative emotion, it's not about being right or wrong. It's simply about who you had to become in order to survive. No more, no less, no judgment. Now, moving to the heart chakra. The negative perspective and or emotion is grief. Nah, straight talk, no chaser. This one had my ass in a chokehold. Okay, this has been the source of my struggle trying to manifest, and it wasn't clear to me until, never mind, I'm not ready to shut it yet. I progress. Let's just say some dots were connected, some things were dropped into place, some clarity was had, and the aha moment took place. Okay, but grief had my ass in a chokehold. Okay, and now that the path has been cleared and is free, baby. Baby. Now, when it comes to manifesting with the negative perspective and emotion of grief, when we talking from the perspective of the 7 chakras, the opposite side of grief is love. And so in order to manifest from this particular negative perspective and emotion, you have to recognize the new form that love is in. You also have to release the pain of no longer being able to experience love in its old form. Go. Now, a special note on this one, at the heart of the matter, again, energy does not die, it simply changes form. Keyword being change. This is, if you're in this negative state or negative emotion of grief, and I say negative again loosely because it's all about your specific perspective. But if that is the emotion that you are in, the key word here is change. You're going to have to navigate the 3 phases of change, which again, I've talked about those before, but if you want specifics for your situation, book an energy audit. We're going to leave it at that. But you're talking about addressing the way that you handle and navigate change. Okay. I also want to be clear that this is not romantic love specifically. This is love in any and all forms that it can be in, has come to you, will come to you, is there being experienced and expressed in your life. Okay, so to kind of help that land and give you a little bit of context, so in my situation, I am somebody that has always been focused on leaving people better than how they came to me. And given the different situations and past traumatic experiences that I've gone through, it put me in a place or in a vulnerability, if you will, to be taken advantage of more often than not. So in my particular case, the old form of love was love for the other, love being expressed and experienced, were expressed and received in the form of how valued or how valuable I could be to those around me, and in different ways, emotionally, supportively, things of that nature, right? And so when now we fast forward to all the different things that have transpired and that I now have emotional clarity on and have matured through, because it was a lot of maturing required, especially with my Saturn energy. Story for a different day. I progress. Now that there are boundaries and things of that nature in place, and rules and non-negotiables for having access to and within my energy, now the new form of love is self-love, or is expressing itself as self-love. And so it's not hard, it's just new, it's different. And now on the other side of it is so beautiful to see it unfold and to see how I got here, if you will. There are still some days where grieving that that past experience or that past version of love comes up, but at the same time, I have to commend myself for being able to make it through, or that version of me for holding it down so long and being so resilient, and getting me through that period of time. So yeah, that's just a quick example to help that kind of land, because it's not romantic love specifically, it's just a love in connection or in relation to the other that now has changed form or transformed into self-love. So it's pretty cool. Next, we have the throat chakra, and that one is associated with the negative perspective and or emotion of lies. Okay, so essentially lying to yourself about the nature or about your true nature. I was gonna say the nature of yourself, but about about your own true nature. So you can't lie to yourself about who you are, even if people or other people see it as negative. Next, we have the third eye chakra, and this one is associated with the negative perspective and or emotion of being overwhelmed or lost in illusion. A little bit harder to spot because when you in it, you in it. But this one is about connection and connectedness. Think law of oneness. Like you have to begin to see how and where everything is connected in order for you to be able to manifest from this particular perspective. And then we have the crown chakra. This one is tied to earthly attachments. So in the context of manifestation, this is simply talking about let me back up. In order to manifest with this one, you have to let the attachments go. And so in the context of manifestation, this is talking about detaching or releasing the attachments of how the manifestation needs to come in, when it needs to come in, where it needs to come in, and what context or capacity it needs to come in. All the things, like all of that is self-explanatory in one instance, but in another instance is also the very place where a lot of us get caught up. Just straight talk, no chaser. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, you have the positive perspective and positive emotion. So trying to manifest, or it being easier for you to manifest from the positive perspective and emotion. I'm gonna get it out. Okay. And that particular, because I know some of you clicked on this video just out of curiosity, trying to figure things out or explore it, and now you're like, oh, well, what about people who manifest or who find it easier to manifest from a positive perspective and emotion? We're gonna touch base on it. This ain't your video, but we're gonna touch base on it real quick. Like, okay, real quick, the muscle memory is faith and hope in the unknown. So where people who find it easier to manifest from a negative perspective and emotion, their muscle memory is rooted in pain or the familiar patterns of pain. If you find it easier to manifest from a positive perspective and or positive emotion, the muscle memory is rooted in faith and hope in the unknown. If you want me to do a video specifically for those of you who manifest from a positive perspective and positive emotion, then comment and let me know, and we'll explore that idea when we get to that bridge. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But if you're like me, and sometimes it's hard to trust in the unknown when shit hit the fan, when you emotionally depleted or energetically depleted and emotionally overwhelmed, it can be hard to trust in the unknown. And if that's you, try instead to trust in your pattern. Use the data to prepare for success, not more pain to prove failure. Okay, you legit thrive in chaos because of your gift of pattern recognition. It's only when you allow yourself to become emotionally overwhelmed that you find yourself being and feeling stuck. Again, this is about the muscle memory that your specific nervous system has developed over time due to whatever life experiences you've had, be they traumatic or just challenging, right? Yes, you do need to regulate your emotions and your nervous system. I will always encourage you to do that. But do you know what perspective, what state of being you are regulating your nervous system from? Is it an emotional attachment to a familiar pattern of pain that is distorting your sense of perceived safety? Or is it a lack of faith and hope in the unknown. Yes, there are several nuances. That is what the Promise Journal, the Energy Audit, and other options to work with me listed in the description box below are for. Yes, you've been taught to desire positive over negative, good over bad. However, what nobody is telling you is that it's all relative to the perspective that you are identifying with when it comes to manifestation. The focus was never the meaning of the substance, aka the story you keep telling yourself about what the emotion means about your worthiness. Rather, the focus is to understand the nature of the substance, aka the energy you already have in motion, emotion, and how it is wired and or designed to move through your specific vessel. The key is complete awareness and control of all your actions. It's knowing how to navigate the chaos of your own thoughts and emotions so you don't rampage in the wrong direction of where you want to go. To manifest with negative emotion, you must transmute the emotion. To transmute means to change in form, nature, or substance. The substance of something is referring to the quality of being important, valid, stable, or significant. That said, to manifest using negative emotions, you simply have to have stability in the midst of chaos. You have to find your quiet inside the center of the storm. Some of us just thrive when the odds are against us, our backs are against the wall, or we being underestimated. And quite frankly, some people just ain't built to weather them type of storms. You know what I'm saying? But a perfect example of manifesting with negative emotions, negative perspective, and I hate to say this, but it's a perfect example, is the 2024 elections, okay? We're going to leave it at that. Again, people you view and or identify as corrupt, evil, whatever. However, whatever negative connotation and or meaning you have given them, those type of people do not win or get what they want because they have morals and values. They get what they want because they accept the truth of who the fuck they are, and they choose the easiest path, the easiest energy available to use to get whatever the fuck it is they want. Okay? To be clear, I am in no way, shape, form, or fashion saying that you should or must struggle or go through hell and back just to be able to manifest. Okay? If that is your takeaway, baby, you have sorely missed the entire point here. As the British say, you have missed the plot. Okay? go start back from zero and watch the video again. Okay? What I am saying is to think about or shift the way that you think about the energy source that you perceive as negative that's already available for you to use. Because one thing I have learned from this experience is that if you can create stability and your version of calm and chaos, you can experience calm and stability when the chaos ain't there. Again, you can manifest with positive energy, positive perspective, positive thinking. Just all the same, right? We all have access to both. But the question is, which one is easier for you to access right now in the moment that you're trying to manifest? How can you make your own journey and your own process of manifestation or of manifesting less stressful and less of a struggle? Most importantly, how can you embrace being the villain in your own story to level up and get what the fuck you want? The answer is you need to understand your own negative emotions and how to transmute them. This is exactly why I created the Promise Journal and the Energy Audit. If you want access to those resources, you can find the direct links listed for you in the description box below. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And share. Hell, why not? Share this video too. Share this with a friend. Share this with somebody who could use this information and this energy that you know has been struggling to manifest. And you can clearly see that they are in, a negative state of being. We can all use the information. When one of us win, we all win. Okay, like as my mentor say, don't be a hater. Okay. All right, my love. That's it for today's Soul to Soul chat. Straight talk, no chaser. I'm gonna get it out, y'all. I'm a little tired, it's time to go rest, okay? Like, my energy is like, we done put out a lot because this video is a good, probably about 40-50 minutes long, something like that, if I don't split it up in two. I don't know. You might be watching part 2 as I'm saying this. I don't know. All the same. I'm gonna go rest, gonna go chill out. But yeah, thank you so much for chilling with me today, and I will see you in the next Soul to Soul Straight Talk No Chaser. Bye, love.